Thank you for joining our end of the week Q&A episode. This is Michelle Patel.
This is Gabe Baradi. We're from Satisfying.
And thank you for joining us. We just started season 2 last week. And today we will be answering one question related to episode 10, which is giver versus taker mindset. Okay, so the question we received, it's actually a brilliant question. How do we transform a person who has a taker mindset to practice the giver mindset? So let me start, Gabe.
Yes, go ahead.
This episode, actually, it's not an easy episode to absorb, right? Because it requires that the person is on the path towards having a growth mindset first.
Yes.
And then having that giver mindset is actually the next level. Now, this question, I think we need to understand that it's, while our whole season 1 was focused on really the person, like your own self, of course, in the context of our work in the service industry, there is really that desire to, if you are on the path towards growth, you would want others also to be there with you, right? Because then there's more self-awareness. You're seeing a transformation in the way you start to see things, a new perspective about the world and the people around you. And you'd want to take as many people as you possibly can towards this same journey. But the reality is, this is a unique journey. Our path towards growth will be unique per person. Mindset is really, I guess, the totality of all our experiences, the way we were brought up, our environment, which could be changing, right? Especially now during this pandemic, and also the culture where we're part of. So we cannot say that, okay, this is going to be my path towards growth, and I'm going to ask you to take the same path. No, it's different per person. If you've heard in the past, some people would say, this is my process, like trust the process, right? And these are for people who, that kind of language you'd hear from people who in a way are becoming more self-aware, right? So everyone has their own process, they have their own journey in terms of this kind of development. Now, it's a decision that each person must make on our own. We cannot force another person's transformation, right? Because I think this, for me, having that giver mindset, you never really end. You never really reach the finish line. It's an ever continuous journey of self-development. Because as long as we're breathing, as long as we're alive, right? Our world changes. The people around us will also evolve. We could only hope that we evolve into better people, right? And even the word better is very subjective. What's better for me may not be better for you. So we can't, as much as we want everyone to be on the same stage where we are at life now, we can only inspire others through our own journey, through our own self-awareness. And remember, self-awareness without action means really nothing, right? So, and our actions on a daily basis will show our own progress. And not just progress, but success, right? Because what we're saying here is if we have this kind of mindset, success will start coming. Opportunities will start coming. And which are results of having this mindset. What about you, Gabe? What's your take on this question?
Oh, well, my own personal experience and from what I hear from people who are on the same journey, the first time that you come across this material and, this knowledge of being a giver, having the growth mindset, as a first timer, it's easy to feel that, oh, wow, I'm really going to change the world. I'm going to give everything that I can. And then you encounter people with the taker mindset. It's easy to get discouraged because then you start to feel, am I the only one at work or, in the room or in the place that I'm in am I the only one with this mindset? And how come it doesn't seem successful because nobody else is doing it? But like what you said, Michelle, we trust the process. People are on different paths. As growth mindset will also tell us, sometimes we will also fail in our own journey, and we shouldn't still lose hope or feel that this is something that we really can't achieve, so there's no point in trying to achieve it, right? Growth mindset means that yes, you know your strength, you know your weakness, you know that people have the same thing, and that you're all in different parts of your journey. It doesn't matter that you might have to take steps back,
Mm-hmm.
but it matters that you keep walking towards the goal that you set yourself to become a giver, to have that growth mindset. So
Yes.
there's that realization that sometimes people may fail, sometimes you may fail, but it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that it's not worth doing or it's not worth becoming a giver. So, it really, we have to be kinder to ourselves to realize that we might not succeed every day, or also be kinder to other people who might not exhibit the growth mindset or giver mentality every day. But
Yeah.
again, it's forgiveness, it's choosing to walk again the same path, the same journey that we set ourselves to, and to just keep doing it. Like you said, there is no end to it. It really is a journey that we take, not a destination.
That's true. Thanks for sharing that, Gabe.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we worked with one company before, and the owners approached us because they have realized that the resulting culture was not really what they intended to be. And it's always amazing when you meet with business owners who that their intention is really in a good place, but somehow
Mm-hmm.
along the way, maybe the people they hired, or eventually how things turned out to be, was so far from the vision, right,
Mm-hmm.
of the
Yes.
owners.
Mm-hmm.
So we work with them, we try to understand, and there's really a toxic culture in that company.
Mm-hmm.
And what we
Mm-hmm.
found out was it was just a small group of people who was
Yes.
driving that, I guess, toxic culture. So
Mm-hmm.
I remember having this conversation, and I shared with them that, what, even if we hire really good people who have the potential, to help us transform this in slowly, right? Things, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
culture cannot change overnight.
That's right.
If without strong leadership in the
Mm-hmm.
company on a day-to-day basis that will be there supervising everyone and calling
Mm-hmm.
out, bad stuff as it comes,
Yes.
without
Yes.
that kind of leadership, good people will get either sucked into the process,
Mm-hmm.
in the bad culture, or
Right.
if they are really they're on a path of, they have the growth mindset, they're starting to practice the giver mindset, they will immediately spot the situation and tell themselves, what, this environment is not serving my purpose, I'm going to leave.
Exactly.
So only
That's right.
those two
Mm-hmm.
things, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the goal before, when we started working with them, was, why, let's populate this place with a lot of good, that the toxic
Right.
people will start to feel that they are the minority. Well, to begin with, they were
They
a
are.
minority, but they're just the
Mm-hmm.
louder minority. So
Yes.
that
Yes.
was always the intention. So
Mm-hmm.
these things, it happens in any organization,
Mm-hmm.
and this is why leadership, right, is so important now. But this kind of responsibility is not only resting on the shoulders of a few people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the reason, I believe, why we created season 2 to be focused on self leadership. That leadership goes beyond the title, goes beyond the designation, but
Mm-hmm.
it's in
Right.
each of us. Because if you practice these values, these skills, you will start performing it even at home
Mm-hmm.
and in your community,
Yes.
not just
Mm-hmm.
in the workplace. There, so just I just that just reminded me of that experience.
Right.
um so another perspective to look at in answering this question, is to look at the 3 stages of progress, right? So initially, we are all at the I stage, where we are takers, right? This is the natural, I think, the natural instinct, and
Survival instinct
survival
right now.
instinct,
Yeah.
self-preservation, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what's in
Mm-hmm.
it for me?
Yeah.
And remember, we covered in our episodes that about going beyond your job role post lockdown, right? This is the kind of workers that's needed now to to create a better, stronger team. So it's like now is not the time to keep on asking what's in it for me, because we have to practice gratitude that if we still have work, if we still have opportunities coming to us on a daily basis, wow, we are really fortunate, because not many are as fortunate as us. So that is the initial stage. Now, some people would progress towards we, where there's give and take, which initially you would think that maybe this is really how relationships should be, right? It's like give and take, right? Like it's symbiotic. But if you look at this kind of relationship, it's just returning favors one after another. It's like, okay, you scratch my back, I scratch yours, right? It may only protect the interest of a small group. Meaning, if I'm the manager or supervisor of this team, of this store, I will protect this store. And sometimes that relationship goes beyond professionalism. It becomes familial, right? We'll discuss this in another episode. But, if you treat your team and if you're the leader like family, that can actually work against you and the company as a whole. So this is not yet a very healthy stage to be, right? But it's on the way towards, it's better than completely being a taker. Just thinking about yourself, about I. The real stage where you can say we are developing the giver mindset is to think for all, meaning we are thinking about us, right? This is the mark of a true leader. It's trusting the relationship with no personal agenda, no expectations of any return favors, no debt to pay. So some cultures would have this kind of negative mindset where, if I help you get this job or get this promotion, one day soon I will call on you when I need the favor back. So that is a killer in relationships, because you and a killer of trust, because it's like, okay, why is this person being nice to me, right? Same way that maybe some people are saying, why are we getting this training for free? What's in it? I've encountered those kinds of reactions of, why are you giving information for free? Why? Like, there's always someone who will try to argue when something positive is just out there. And you know what? A lot of times there's no agenda. There's no personal agenda, right? That's why I think when I was doing this introduction about the reboot, I was able to anticipate already that kind. What's in it for you? What's in it for me, right? And that's why I said this learning, all these lessons that we have learned from over 15 years of working with Satisfied, we already actually earned, this is like the profit. This is like giving back, and there's, I will not be in a worse off situation, nor on a better situation. I'm still the same person, whether I share this information or not. Does that make sense, Gabe? Like, and I think that's how we should also treat relationships, not just at work, but also at home. That it's not like, okay, I'm doing this for you now so that you can do this for me tomorrow. No, we're doing this because this is the way to survive. This is the way for everyone to grow, especially at this time. So from we must go to us. That is being practicing the giver mindset when we start thinking for all.
That's right.
Anything to add, Gabe?
And actually, if our viewers will remember the episode on giver and taker mindset, there is that middle mindset that we did not have the time to discuss, and that's what we talk about in the give and take. And the studies have shown, there were studies done on the giver and taker mindset. The middle mindset, the one that asks, what can I get in return, is actually the majority. And majority of people are in the middle right now. So you will have the really, really, selfish people who think only of what they can get. And you will have that rare minority that really just keeps giving and giving. Most of us are in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But given our situation now, it really will help everybody survive if we move to the giver mindset and not
Right.
just, giving as much as you got. And when we do that, nobody really gains anything because
That's true.
it's just
That's true.
exchange, right?
Yeah.
But when everybody gives with no agenda, without anything, without any expecting anything in return, you actually get more back because everybody starts to give, and that will really make a difference in both our industry and in at home in our personal lives when we learn to give without expecting anything.
Yeah. And many cultures also, this is something
Yes.
very true to them, right? Like the good
Mm-hmm.
karma, like,
Yes.
the concept of abundance, like you just like give out
Yeah.
there without really expecting anything in return. And then you'll start to see the positivity coming to your
Mm-hmm.
life every day, and the opportunities are there. So
Mm-hmm.
one last thing that I'd like to talk about this is, we can be in any of these stages in our
Mm-hmm.
progress. But the most important thing is not to look at others in a self-righteous way. It's not like, oh, you know
Yes.
what? If you're starting to feel that, like, oh, I have the giver
Mm-hmm.
mindset, I have the growth mindset,
Mm-hmm.
but the other people around me are not. The moment that thought even crosses your mind, I think you're like 5 steps back. Like, I mean,
Right.
you're
Right.
not yet there.
Mm-hmm.
Because giving really, there's no judging, there's less judging. Of course, these concepts, what I'm saying, are not easy, right?
Yes.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
why it's an ever-changing, ever-developing path towards growth.
Yes.
I can
Mm-hmm.
be very self-aware now, but maybe something happens tomorrow that will trigger me,
Yes.
and then I'm back to, to
Mm-hmm.
some old habits. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just really a path that we need to take on our own, not to
Mm-hmm.
compare our path with others, not to tell someone else's journey that mine is better than yours,
Yeah.
or you're doing it the wrong way,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's
Mm-hmm.
it's just being focused on how we can be better people, because if we focus on ourselves, other people around us will notice that change, will notice that
Mm-hmm.
progress, and will inspire them, especially when they start seeing the success in our life. I really believe that if you practice the right mindset, success follows,
Yes.
because you
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
attract it. Your attitude towards life, towards the people around you, towards your work, just changes dramatically. And there's less
Mm-hmm.
worry, there's less anxiety. Again, what I'm saying are easier said than done, right? But
Yeah.
these
Mm-hmm.
are concepts, these are applications that we have seen with people who have done it consistently and have been
Mm-hmm.
successful. And we can only share these things with you through the experiences that we've had, seeing this in the workplace actually practiced
Mm-hmm.
and successful.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
And then once you get to that giver mindset, and while you do only focus on your own journey and not compare yourselves with others, it opens you also to helping others get to where you are.
that's true.
And helping them does not, it doesn't become something that you use over them or you use for your own
That's true.
advantage. People will flock to a giver
Mm,
because they know that they can learn from this person. And if you're in that position,
yeah.
it would be, really nice for you to help other people get to where you are
It's
rather than judge them.
That's
Hmm.
true. It's helping without any thoughts or agenda of manipulation, right? And
Yes,
and, and, and
yes.
you just feel free, because it's like I'm not here to please anyone.
Hmm.
I'm just
Hmm.
here to
Hmm.
share what I know, that and if we all have that kind of mindset, and our actions follow that mindset, I think we'll just live in a better world. Even
Yeah.
even
Hmm.
if our world is a small place or a small community, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
we'll find better things to look forward every day, especially
Right.
during this time.
Yes.
So yeah, our episode 4 for season 2 will be coming out on Monday, and actually this topic is very much related to that. So I'm looking
That's right.
forward to it.
Yep.
Okay. So have a great weekend, and thank you again for joining us.
Let's see you all on Monday for episode
Yes.
4.
Thank you. Bye.